Hello, I'm Nika Harper, and I wrote a story called Dreamway Arches, and I would love to share it with you. The dream was someone else's. It didn't feel like his own. It was places he'd never been, colors he'd never seen, bright, tall arches towering in an orange landscape, like a book. The activity was elsewhere, but the imagination stretched so very far that he had room to roam, so he did. There was so much to see. No haze to the detail or any line or shadow out of place. It was fully rendered for him, a walking world, like it may have actually existed and been documented. The pillars met an open sky, deeply tinted with the light of suns where one was always setting. He breathed in, hoping for a scent memory, but getting nothing. There are limits, he supposed. The slabs of tile were as large as cars, glittering with flecks of alien prettiness that dazzled and distracted from the hallways on every side. He knew something was happening to the left, so he walked straight ahead. Getting lost in dreams is both challenging and dangerous. He wanted to test the limits without breaking them or becoming the focus, which, in essence, were the same thing. Explore, but don't disturb. What could be found here? It didn't matter who this was. It never occurred to him to look. Things become complicated with personality. He peered between the empty walls, shielding his eyes from the surrounding brightness. The clarity and logic suggested a man, but the color and aesthetic leaned heavily towards feminine. It could be part of a movie, snapshotted into the psyche and taken out for a bit of exercise, but it seemed more personal than that, especially when he found the parlor. Open, angled shelves made a geometric mosaic on the wall, making the room seem oddly enclosed. Here there was everything. Tiny shelves with tiny things packed together like a world in miniature. A lengthwise perch of books meticulously lined up according to height and spine decay. An alcove of various lamps that stretched deeper than the rest, far into the wall itself, so it looked like a tunnel of mirrors. The detail was astounding. Each photograph had a crease. Each metal object had a tarnish. It was all real. None of it was reused. Some shelves were filled with color, the same precise hue of chartreuse or alabaster, no matter what object on which they were melded. Here, a space for children's toys and building blocks. There, nothing but a single apple and one bite taken out, sitting on a smudged napkin. It was all so real. And it wasn't even the focus of the dream. It just existed that way. The drawer was a stranger find, tucked away among some of the dustier shelves and darkened corners. This was a place of true memories, the ones that only refresh by instinct or automation. Important to forget about, but not to be forgotten entirely. They told a more cohesive story, captured more of the environment. Broken things here and there, a martini glass with a lipstick imprint on the rim, the innards of a hospital room, a vase of flowers attempting to be cheerful, a needle for an IV. The greeting card was dusty, but the blanket it sat on was clean and freshly pressed. Some of the memories were used more than others. There were a few small drawers, but the larger one called to him. It had a burnished handle, shined from use, so it was referred to often enough. He reached out his hand and drew the drawer back. The smile in the photographs did not match his expression. It was pictures, letters, scraps of paper, and flat things ripped from the world and copied down. Things that he didn't know mattered at all. And the faces were smiling, genuine, some by firelight or lost in thought with a glint in the eye. He didn't know he looked that way. He pushed them carefully aside to uncover more, these candid moments of flattering memory, looking good as he could look, holding a cigarette in many of them, even though he had quit a year ago. The drawer was his, but tucked away, forced into the shallow canals of memory, collecting, but not reflecting. He closed the drawer, and the dream rumbled around him, giving way to bleary reality. He awoke and stood up from the couch as a figure stumbled into the doorway. He could sense the tears on his assistant's face, his dream-drunk mind reeling like his balance. They regarded each other, as though waiting for a decision. And then he felt wrenching sobs on his shoulder and arms tightly bound around his chest. His arms encircled the crying young man, sorry for his own prying eyes. Secrets are painful and burn when touched by the fingers that created them. I am incredibly happy with how this one turned out. I had no idea what I was going to be writing, and I sort of jumped headfirst into it and kind of discovered it in the exact same way that the main character did. And there's a lot more beyond that that my mind sort of wrote in a headcanon kind of way. Maybe I will come back to see more of that and that character, because I kind of like where it was going. This was an aside on a bigger story, I think, so I should revisit that. You can read more of my short stories on my Tumblr, which is nikaharper.tumblr.com, and you can also see the other projects that I'm working on at thisisnika.com as well. If you are interested in helping support me, just like making more of these videos and writing a lot more, you can go to Patreon, which is a site that you can support writers and creators and interesting people in doing the kind of stuff that they love. And this video is really brought about from Patreon, so I really can't thank the supporters enough for that. So thank you. So say hi, let me know what you think, and I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching.